Welcome to POL 130, Comparing Politics and Governments Around the World, also known as Comparative Politics. This introductory lecture will provide an overview about the course and what you need to know to succeed in it. So welcome everybody. It is a pleasure to have you in this class, and I look forward to getting to know all of you through our Canvas website. I'm going to start with a little bit of information about me. So I am Dr. Hultquist. This is my 5th year teaching at UWL. I grew up in Connecticut, which is quite a drive from Wisconsin. I have unfortunately done this drive several times, although obviously flying is a lot faster. But so I grew up in New England. I went and did my undergraduate at the University of Connecticut. Go Huskies. That is the actual live mascot that we have at UConn. We have a dog named Husky. I don't know which Jonathan we are on. His name is Jonathan, maybe the 14th or something. But I did my undergraduate. I was a political science major. Worked at the state capitol for a short bit, decided I wanted to go back to do my master's, and I ended up at the University of Denver. Worked for a nonprofit for a few years, and then decided to go back to school and get my PhD in political science at the University of Maryland. And my area of expertise is in comparative politics and international relations, and I substantively focus on all things related to political violence. So civil war, terrorism, ethnic conflict, autocracies, state repression, nonviolence. Basically, my research focuses on why do non-state actors, so like why do groups of people decide to advance their political goals by running in elections or protesting or using violence? And we see a lot of variation in that. And then on the flip side, why do governments sometimes respond to these groups by repressing them? And sometimes they actually decide to make concessions to them. So that is what my research focuses on. Before coming here, I worked at Colorado Mesa University, which is in Western Grand Junction. Also a long drive from La Crosse, and I have done this drive before when we moved. I worked there for a couple of years and then decided to come to La Crosse. So I have, like I said, been here since 2020. My first year was at the height of the pandemic, which was not the best way to start my teaching career at UWL. Though I'm glad, obviously, that we are back in the classroom. Of course, this is an online class, but we can still establish a sense of community in our online class as well. And you can find me in Wimberley. I am in 425D, which is on the 4th floor in the Political Science and Public Administration Department. All right, so now that I've introduced myself, I want to give a very short introduction to what comparative politics is. And we're obviously studying it this semester, so you will have a very good sense of what comparative politics is by the end of this course. So it is one of the subfields of political science. We have 4 main subfields. In comparative, we study politics within countries. So here's one way to think about how American comparative and IR differ from each other. If any of you have ever taken POL 101 here at UWL, or if you've taken something equivalent, whether in high school as an AP class or elsewhere, about American national government, right? You study things like maybe federalism and checks and balances and Congress and the presidency and the judicial branches. So those are kind of the things that you study, right? Elections, voting, etc. If you've ever taken POL 140, International Relations, you know that the topics that are covered in that class have to do with, say, for example, the United Nations, why countries go to war with each other, international trade, international monetary systems, etc. So one way to think about comparative is that is actually a lot more similar to what you would study in American politics than what you would study in IR. Because what we're really talking about is the politics within countries. In American politics, we study the politics within one single country. We do the same thing in comparative, but our sample size is the entire world, right? We're not just focused on one country. So those are some of the main differences between American comparative NIR. Comparative is much more similar to American, but we're focused on all countries around the world versus IR, which is just a different entity in and of itself. Here we're focused on relations between countries as opposed to the politics within them. All right, so I am going to now show you our Canvas site and tell you a few things that you need to know to succeed in the course. This is our Canvas site, as I'm sure you are all aware. There is a welcome page here. This is a section that I would like everybody to go through just to kind of read. Here's a picture of my dog, Priya. For all of you pet lovers out there, feel free to upload a photo of your pet or pets in our first discussion post in week 1. Here is a page with information about how to navigate this course. And then a discussion post if you have any questions that you think might be helpful for other students to know the answers to as well. Okay, so that is our very first module that you'll have to go through. Next, there is the syllabus for the course, which you can access right here, obviously, right? This will give you detailed information, the course description, an overview of what we're doing, the learning outcomes, so what you should know by the end of this course, how this course relates to Eagle Advantage. We do have a textbook, which you can get from Textbook Rental. Other material that you need is going to be posted on Canvas for you. The grading policy and what your grade is going to be made up of. The next part of the syllabus goes through detailed information to explain what the various parts of the grades are. Policy for late or missed assignments, expectations for graded work, communication. Then we have our UWL policies, right? And then you have a detailed schedule at the end of the syllabus, which you can use to map out the entire semester. The modules do unlock 1 week ahead of time, but you have access to everything that we are going to be doing at the back of the syllabus so you know what is coming due. So for example, there's a reading quiz on chapter 1 coming up. That's due at the end of week 2, right? We have a midterm exam that's going to be due on Sunday, October 19th. So you can map out your entire semester by looking at the actual syllabus itself. And so I just want to spend a little bit of time talking about the grading policies. So there are discussion posts that you will complete. There are reading quizzes that you will do on each of the 9 chapters of the textbook that we are reading. You can take the quizzes as many times as you want. I am less interested in making this a high-stakes, stressful quiz, but rather would prefer this to be a low-stakes way for you to make sure that you're understanding the main points of the reading. So the quizzes are going to be due on Sundays, but you can take the quiz as many times as you want. Your highest score is going to be kept. And I do believe I have it set so that the lowest quiz grade is dropped as well. So those are the quizzes. There is an online midterm exam. It's going to be on chapters 1 through 6. There'll be a midterm exam study guide posted. You do have a constitutional convention assignment, which I'll get to in just a moment. And we also have a final exam that's going to be due the last day of finals on Wednesday, December 17th. So the memo and the discussion, because this course has a very applied nature to it, I want to give you a chance to put all of the information that you will be learning over the course of the semester about executive legislative systems and electoral systems and the ways that states interact with identity groups into practice through this fictional constitutional convention where you will be assigned to represent one of 4 different ethnic groups. You will write a memo about different parts of the Constitution from the perspective of your ethnic group. So you'll submit that on December 1st. And then over the course of the first week of December, we'll have basically 3 rounds of negotiations about the Constitution. So you'll be in small groups. There'll just be 4 of you, 1 person from each ethnic group. You'll upload your memos to the discussion board, and then I'll give you a series of prompts with the ultimate goal of, at the end of the week, your group ideally will have voted on and passed a new constitution. So it should be fun. I usually have done this simulation in person because I teach comparative usually in person. So I think this will still be a good learning experience, and I think it'll be fun for everybody, but it is going to be a little bit different because it is an asynchronous format. But it is this activity, the simulation is something in the many times that I've taught this course, students have said that they've really enjoyed. So I will definitely get your feedback on it as well and see what you think of it. Our course is structured in modules that correspond to every week of the semester. And this is also reflected in the syllabus as well. So the modules correspond to the modules and weeks in the syllabus. Each week's module is unlocked a week in advance. So the module for week 3 is going to unlock on September 8th, right? And every single module is going to have 2 sections to it. An overview section, and there's usually 2 topics within each module that we are focusing on. So for example, next week we're talking about what comparative politics is and 3 theories that we use to explain comparative. Then we talk about the modern state and what explains state strength, etc. Right? So you can scroll through here to get a sense of the topics that we are going to be covering. I have created this previewing the week page for you all as sort of your one-stop place to go to find out what we are doing that particular week. This information is also in the syllabus in terms of the syllabus itself, not the syllabus that you have in Canvas, but the PDF version of the syllabus has all of the reading assignments and all of these assignments as well. But this is a way for you to use the information in Canvas to figure out what is coming due. The previewing the week page also will tell you what we're focused on for the week, what you should know by the end of the week, and then the assignments, which generally there'll be lectures, reading quizzes, and discussion posts. The first week is a little bit different because there's a syllabus quiz and a student survey. So it just looks a little bit different. But this is what you can expect for the first week. Every week is going to also have a lecture. So here is obviously this lecture right here, which I'm going to post the video of once this is done. Every week also has a discussion. So there are detailed instructions about the original reply that you need to submit. And what I'm looking for in particular, I really want you to use information that you find from the textbook and or the lecture slides to support your answers in the discussion post. There's just one reply to a classmate that you will need to make. And each week there will be different instructions for the discussion prompts because obviously we're covering different topics, right? So for this week, what I want you to do is to review the course syllabus, so the PDF version of the syllabus, watch the mini lecture for this week, which is what you are doing now if you're watching this. And then there's also 4 videos to watch. They're going to be less than 10 minutes total that talk about different things that we're actually going to be focusing on in this class. And so you have 3 questions that you will be asked to answer in your discussion post this week, kind of an introductory post. Feel free to share photos of your pets and or yourself, where you've been. This is a course that focuses on different countries and cultures and different political systems. So we want to get a sense of, who's traveled overseas. And even if you haven't, maybe where you would like to go. and then a prediction. What do you predict we're going to be learning about in this class? And then just a reply to a classmate, right? The first module also has a very short student survey, just for me to get a sense of what you know about political science in general and your background and why you're taking this course. You don't need to have any background in political science to succeed in it. It's just a way for me to kind of get a sense of where you are at. And then you will have module 2. So this module will look a little bit more similar to what you can expect for the remaining modules of the semester. We start with a previewing the week page where you have different lectures. They're all going to be on the shorter side, under 10 minutes. I do think this one's probably a little bit longer. It's going to go over 10 minutes, but it's just because it's the introductory one and I wanted to demonstrate to you how to use Canvas as well. At least, or rather, how to use our Canvas website and what you can do with it. There's a reading quiz. There's the discussion board, which will tell you, right, what you need to do before you post. And then you can find the lectures. So each module will have at least one lecture for you to review. The lectures are posted up on YouTube, but you can also go through the Google Slides right here if you want and download them. So you can take a look at this information. Sometimes I'll include some figures. So this is something that I had mentioned in one of the mini lectures for this week, which you can look at, for example, which countries are liberal and electoral democracies, which countries are electoral autocracies, and which are closed. I think this is a really fun data visualization tool. More lectures for you to review, and they're all going to be on the short side, like I mentioned, under 10 minutes. And then here is our discussion for the following week, right? So that is our course in a nutshell. Of course, if you have any questions at all, please let me know, and I very much look forward to getting to know you all over the course of this semester.